Hi. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording. And today we're looking at the Clank Chaos module. Clank Chaos is a 6-channel gate and CV creator that, well, can do this. You can clock it, you can unclock it, you can change timings, you can change scales, you can have it go absolutely bonkers. It's really cool. We're going to be walking through every one of its functions and talking about how you can use it in your rack to make everything from this to this. Come with me on a journey to embrace the chaos. Let's talk about how the Clank Chaos works. I'm setting it a 16th note pulse from Pamela's new workout with a little bit of swing to it. The gate is going out to trigger an envelope in Ornament and Crime, and the 1 volt per octave is going into the Dixie 2 oscillator. By holding down the time button, I can see that I'm in the normal time, which is going to be the clock, 16th note pulses. By turning this to the left or right, I can change the timing. Super, super fast or super, super slow. Even get some cool subdivisions like this. The probability knob will change whether or not a probable hit will occur. Right now it's all the way up, and that is going to give us the most probability. The width control will change the width of the gate coming out, so I can actually increase the length of my thing going into the envelope, as long as you have a sustain level on your envelope. I'm adjusting the release characteristic of the envelope there on the triad. Next up is how many notes will be selected from the scale that you choose, and there's a few scales in here you can choose from. The higher that is, the more notes are going to be selected. This is known as the voltage window. If I press this button, I can change between scales, starting with unquantized to what we are on right now, which was the minor pentatonic. So unquantized could be good for sending out voltages to modulate things like filters and stuff. We have chromatic, octaves, major scale, major pentatonic, minor scale, minor pentatonic, and then some more exotic scales. By pressing this button, I can slew the output, which is really, really cool for sending CVs out or for getting like slippy drum and bass lines. This is the ground transpose button, which is basically a transpose within the scale that you've chosen. So you can dial in the ground voltage, and then with the button that we pushed before, we can dial in the range from that ground. So you can really dial in the range of notes coming out or voltages coming out if you're modulating some parameter of a synthesizer. Next up is the loop function. By pressing the loop button or sending a gate into the loop, you will be able to loop a track's random voltage, and you can actually set the loop length anywhere between 1 step and I believe 10. The crazy thing about the loop is that it can have completely different parameters from the main chaos generator, which we will get into in just a second. Let's plug a gate into the loop input and make sure that the channel is linked to accept the loop input. So now we'll switch back and forth between looping and non-looping. So let's adjust the loop so that it's very different from the main section. It's still going to sample those voltages from the thing that just played before, but we can change the timing, the voltage window, the ground, the transposition, the probability, and the gate width for the loop. So we can get really, really different stuff every single time that loop hits. It's really, really cool. One of my favorite things to do is turn the timing way up so I can get little glittery ARPs. Now remember, this isn't doing anything to the audio. This is generating CV, gates and voltages. The fact that you can set the loop to be a completely different set of parameters is one of my favorite things about the Chaos. By holding down the link button on the bottom left, we can choose what of the 4 inputs that particular channel will link to. The input on the far right is called Chaos and will scramble the parameters for the channel. It accepts a gate and will turn Chaos on and off. You can actually adjust the level of chaos that the channel will be privy to by holding down the encoder and turning down what's called its entropy engine. Turning up entropy. So now I'm going to experience the highest level of chaos, which could be any combination of probability, timings, voltage floor, and voltage window. And of course, we can get rid of our beat and just let the thing kind of babble at itself, which is one of my favorite things to do with this module. It's incredible once you start passing it around to multiple voices in your rack, which you'll see. By the way, the effects in this are coming from the IntelliGel Rainmaker. Let's dive into using more than one voice. Okay. Here I have 2 voices. One from Castor and Pollock, and one from Dixie 2. I am currently in Edit All mode. When you turn the encoder all the way to the right, instead of picking a single voice, you pick all the voices and can edit all their parameters at once, which is incredibly fun and useful. So probability, timing, voltage window, I can edit them both at the same time here. I think one of my favorite things about Chaos is how it can both be a hands-off device but also incredibly performative. What I'd like to do now is set up some individual presets and save them to some of the banks so that we can move through them using the CV in. So let me make some adjustments and then we'll save, I think, like 4 banks. So going to hold down the save function button, which is on the bottom right of the unit, and save this to bank 2. Now I'll load the next bank, make some changes, and repeat this until I have 4 diverse banks that I can pull from. I'm also going to change the loop settings on each one so that we can really get just like an incredible amount of diversity depending on what CV and gates we send in. I'm going to be sending it CV from the CV channel of the Varigate 8 Plus, which gives me a lot of control over exactly what state of CV I'm in, so I can pick between the 4 different banks that I've created. I need to make sure that I'm linked to respond to both loop and CV. When you hold down the link button, you get 4 LEDs that correspond to the 4 inputs, and that includes clock, loop, CV, and chaos. So each channel can respond to the CV inputs discretely. You can have some channels loop, you can have some channels respond to chaos, you can have some channels clocked and some channels not clocked, and you can transpose some channels and other ones will not transpose. So now, if I hold down the preset button, the bank button, we're going to see that we're actually moving through those banks that I saved via voltage. You can see that I'm even selecting some blank ones. So you can dial that in and have an immense amount of control over moving through different presets, which is super cool. The other thing you can do with the CVN is actually send in note data for the Chaos Engine to sample, which essentially means that you can transpose your entire sequence. And again, because different channels can respond to the CV or not, you can choose to transpose some and not transpose the others. The other thing that's going to lead to is the concept of using the Clank Chaos as a polyphony generator. What we can do is set up 2 or 3 channels to all have the same settings and respond to CV, and then use the voltage window to transpose them. If we set the notes that the channel will respond to only one note, and then use the voltage ground parameter to transpose it, we can essentially create chords that will all hit at the same time, which is really, really cool. Let's get this dialed in a bit more so it's just straight up harmonies. So cool. And of course you can still do the loop function on this and chaos. So you can move between doing harmonies to looped chaos. It's really, really great. And then of course, if you get bored with something with the beat, you can just tear it apart and do the weird again. I recorded a bunch of demos with this, some more full tracks utilizing my entire rack. If you'd like to hear them, check the link in the description. I've got them all uploaded. In this one, I was actually using in edit all mode the voltage ground to transpose almost the entire sequence, which was a really cool performative tool. By combining different timings so slow timings or faster timings, you can create chaos that both does pad-like sounds, which you can hear these long oscillators fading in, and then shorter events like bass lines or plucks. Mixing them all together is really, really cool. In this one, you can hear Slew working on that sub bass to give us a wobbly, seasick kind of feeling, which is pretty neat. In this one, I was using CV-in to transpose all the sequences. I was able to create basically a minor pentatonic pitch sequence that was sequencing most of the voices in Chaos via the CV-in. And then finally, the piece de resistance of Chaos. I had so much fun with this patch, I just let it play for like 10 minutes. Everything but the little tiny repeating pad and some of the little drum sounds are being triggered by Chaos in my rack. And that combined with a bunch of sort of shifting envelopes, I just got this completely kaleidoscopic weird thing that I just listened to for about 30 minutes. Chaos is an amazing module. If you like marbles and you like creating constrained chaos but also want some looping and performance controls, I think this is a one-of-a-kind module. Absolutely not experienced anything like it before. So give it a try if chaos is your thing. Check the links in the description if you want to watch the rest of these demos without me talking. Thanks for watching. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording, and I hope you have a wonderful day.